Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Widi Winurah Putri. My official number A1M218091. Today I will explain my material. My material is evaluation of behaviorist semantics. So, the most striking feature of any behaviorist theory of meaning so far proposed is its inadequacy to deal plausibly with more than a very small fraction of the utterances of everyday life. And this is not only of the elite theories of Watson, Weiss, or Bloomfield, but also of the more sophisticated and more highly developed theory of Skinner. An enormous leap of faith is required before one can accept that the effort is sufficient to account for illustrative utterance like "I'm hungry," "It's raining," "water," or "pass me the salt, please," is in principle capable of accounting without further theoretical extension for the full complexity of language behavior. There is no evidence to support the view that more than a very small number of Skinner's means and texts are under the functional control of some determined and recurrent stimulus in the environment. In this circumstance, the behaviorists claim to have brought the relation between words and things within the scope of the methods of natural science by Skinner is to say the least premature. As for the class of verbal operands under the functional control of prior verbal stimuli, their status is perhaps even less satisfactory. Here it is only in case of highly ritualist exchange or monologues that the notion of stimulus control has any kind of prima facie plausibility as framework within which to state the meaning of language utterance or their constituent word and expressions. Behaviorism is, for the present at least, of very restricted value. It has the merit of attempting to account for meaning in terms of observables, which, like purely introspective evidence, can be verified by others. And we might grant that some important aspect of the meaning of words like chair or book can be brought within the scope of a stimulus response model by showing how they, or expression containing them, come to be associated with certain classes of observable things, namely chair or books, in the environment, and that the meaning of word denoting to observable property of things, such as their shape, color, weight, and texture, can also be accounted for statistically in this way. But many words do not denote observable things and properties, and behaviorism has nothing helpful to say about the way in which such words acquire the meaning. Nor indeed is the stimulus response account of the association between words and observable quite as straightforward as it might appear at first sight. It has often been pointed out that we do not normally react to words in the same ways as we will react to the things, situation, or properties with which they are associated. As Brown put it, someone who knows that rain refers to rain doesn't always react to the word as he would to the thing itself, any more than he say rain whenever he sees, hears, or feels it. There have been various attempts to resolve or circumvent this difficulty. Some authors have maintained that Even though there may be that our behavioral response, there will always be some kind of cover response according to one theory. Deriving from Watson, this will take the form of imperceptible muscular activity. According to another, it will consist in a characteristic mediating reaction of the nervous system. Needless to say, neither of these postulated reactions is any more directly observable than are the mental concepts are imagined of traditional semantic theory, and so far it has not been proved that such reactions do in fact occur. Authors have suggested that the association between a stimulus and characteristics response to it is dispositional. That is, say, we will not necessarily react even comfortably in the presence of the stimulants, but once the association is stabilized, we will have a disposition to respond appropriately, and this disposition will issue in an over-response. Provided that all determining conditions for all are fulfilled, we will revert to this as the dispositional theory, meaning two of its most influential advocates by Stevenson. This first question that must be asked in relation to the theory of meaning is what is meant by a disposition to respond. There cannot be objection in principle to the notion of dispositional concept, and the behaviorist is not necessarily committed to the existence of any kind of mental states or entities by his recognition of dispositional to response as well as effectual response to stimuli of solubility and organism equation of a disposition to respond a particular signal can be true of in terms of a partial rewriting of its nervous system by Brown, and a good deal of nonverbal signaling in both human beings and animals is perhaps plausibly accounted for in this way. The objection that will be raised here to the dispositional theory meaning we do not therefore depend upon this point of principle. When we say this, that salt is soluble in water, we can justify the statement by specifying both the conditions under which a particular reaction will take place and the nature of the reaction. So the problem here is that the term disposition to respond is now being used too generally, not to say loosely, that it forfeits all its unusefulness. It gives us the illusion of having provided a satisfactory theoretical count of meaning without in fact saying more than can be said, and less misleading perhaps, as foreknowing and the meaning of a word implies being able to understand it when other people use it and being able to use it appropriately oneself. It is preferable, therefore, that the semantics should retain the pre-theoretical term understanding for what is admittedly a psychological state or process standing in need of explication rather than the usual substitute for a term which is no more precisely defined than what is supposed to explicate it. Okay, I think that's all about my material. I hope you guys understand. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.